one of the greatest challenges of leadership, and we've spoken about this lots of times, is this issue of consistency, right? When it comes to leadership, I think one of the big things that people could do, like what's something you could do in the next 7 days? Well, I reckon one of the first things you could do is just look at your consistency. How consistent are you? How consistent are you in your approach, your mood, your response, your technique?
And I think a really good thing to do with that, once you look at how consistent you are, if you can truly look at it and go, oh, I'm probably not really consistent at this stage.
If you want more time, money, freedom, and have a business that's not reliant on you, then you're in the right place. Each week, Mark Creedon, along with some of the very best business minds in the world, will take you through simple, practical steps you can take to create the business you always wanted. From his own practical experience, Mark will show you how to work less, make more, and get the business you always wanted, the one that you deserve. Now here's your host, one of Australia's most sought-after business coaches, Mark Creedon.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Mastermind for Business podcast. This is the podcast for couples in business where we help you to spend more time in your life, less time in your business, to help you to scale your business to the point where it doesn't rely on you so that you can scale a business without unwrapping or unscaling your relationship. And as always, joining me in the chair is Caroline.
Hello, I've got different sound.
I know. Well, I just thought we'd mix things up a little bit. Hey, today we're going to talk about, I reckon, one of my all-time favourite topics, which is leadership.
And leadership by design, what does that look like for you?
Well, that's right.
Your team?
That's right. We've done a lot of work with leadership, and we've worked with a lot of different leaders. We've worked with leaders in the political sphere, the business sphere, the military sphere, sports sphere, and we've learned lots of things about leadership. He's one of my favourite topics. In fact, one of my favourite books is Simon Sinek's Leaders Eat Last, and Leaders Eat Last is one of my favourite sayings. Yeah.
Yep.
Often use that. No. Mark off you go. No. Leaders eat last. I love it. Let's talk about leadership, and let's talk about leadership by design. And what does leadership by design mean to you?
I think that's for me, it's being the best leader that you can be, being true to yourself, but also being a leader to create the best outcome for the purpose that you want to achieve.
Yep. So that's the best outcome for your clients and the best outcome for your team.
Yeah.
But I think the thing about leadership, and I think, because we talk about, why can we talk about this stuff? And we talk about the fact that we can help, couples to scale their business. The truth is, you and I have been married for 19 years. We've been in business for 15 years. We still talk to each other. We still sleep in the same room. And we've scaled a number of businesses. So, that's how we know what we're doing. And we've done it successfully whilst maintaining a positive relationship. We haven't got divorced yet, so.
No, yeah, maybe next week.
Yeah. So, but I think one of the things that we have very different leadership styles. But what you've got to do is accept that that's a bit of a yin and a yang, don't you? And sort of play to each other's strengths.
Yeah, I think once you have the clarity on the roles and what leadership roles you're playing in the business and where,
yep,
I think that makes that a little bit easier, that part of your business a little bit easier, because our styles are quite different. I honestly would say that you're really bossy and mean and nasty.
Yes.
As a leader.
Yes, love it. Yes. But the truth is, within the space, you are often seen as kind of the nurturer. And I'm not saying I'm not nurturing, but I'm probably seen as more the decision maker in terms of the strategic decision maker within the business. You're seen more of the nurturer, although we both. Well, and this is a really interesting point because we talk about leadership overlap. Leadership overlap isn't necessarily a bad thing, is it? Like if we've both got
I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, being the nurturer doesn't necessarily mean that you're the passenger or the passive fossil. Because when I need to do my lolly, my block, it needs to happen. So you're not always super
pretty clear.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to just get something across. But the confusion between the two, I think, is where the pitfalls are.
So let's talk about some pitfalls around leadership, because one of the things that you've said is that the issues with being a leader is if you feel like you're always on, right? And if you're always on, then you're micromanaging or you're unintentionally getting involved in things. What's the risk associated with being that kind of a leader?
I think if you're always on your leadership,
yep,
I guess there's two different ways to look at it. If you're always on your leadership style, then you're consistent and people know what to expect from you, and they, reply back or respond back accordingly.
Yeah.
When you're not, then, and you change for situational purposes, then it can be quite an interesting Control-Alt-Delete for people as well.
Yeah, I mean, I always think that one of the greatest challenges of leadership, and we've spoken about this lots of times, is this issue of consistency, right? So, I worked with a guy once who was just consistently a dick, and people sort of said to me, how do you work with him? Well, I can, because I know what I'm getting. I know every week I'm getting, even if it's not nice, I know that's what I'm getting. So when it comes to leadership, I think one of the big things that people could do, like what's something you could do in the next 7 days? Well, I reckon one of the first things you could do is just look at your consistency. How consistent are you? Do you know how consistent are you in your approach, your mood, your response, your technique?
Yeah. And I think a really good thing to do with that, once you look at, how consistent you are, if you can truly look at it and go, I'm probably not really consistent at this stage. Now, is it because it's the end of the day, or is it because you've had to have a chat with the bank manager, or where do those consistencies change?
Yep.
What's the reason for those
So what's
changes?
the influence? What's the external influence on it?
What can you actually have?
Yep.
What are the things that you can do to change those? So some things are out of your control,
Yep.
but what things can you control to change those attitudes?
When you're talking about being a leader in a business, is leadership always leading from the front, or does leadership sometimes involve leading and sometimes involve coaching?
Well, we're business coaches, so of course it's a little bit of coaching in there as well. I think there's lots of trust in there, and leading from behind is giving your people a good level of trust.
Yeah.
You've given them the tools, so let them shine, and you will find if you can allow yourself to trust your team, and you get to the stage that you can do that, then that's in the stages that you can go, do you know what? I'm taking 2 weeks off because my team, again, I can trust my team. They know what they're doing. And I've allowed myself to be able to get the team to that level.
So you've tapped into a really important point, because we talk about this is the podcast for couples in business, and that's what we do in Mastermind, is we help couples in business. But, we're not family therapists, right? We're not counselors. What we really do is our focus is on how you can both get on the same page in order to scale the business, but do it in a way which is not going to negatively impact either yourself personally or your relationship. And I think a big part of that is understanding each other's leadership strengths. So whilst we said before that sometimes you have a different leadership style to me, but there's times when I just need to stop and just let you do you.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you need to let me be me and lead in my way. But is there value in us both being at some time, what's the value in us both being involved in leadership? In other words, having this overlap.
Oh, yeah, there is. I mean, sometimes two voices are better than one. Mm-hmm. And there's the alignment piece comes in there. If you're both aligned, everybody is more relaxed.
Yep. Yep.
You're relaxed.
Well, that's right. The other thing I think it does is it stops that. And if you're listening to this right now on your favorite podcast app, or maybe you're watching on YouTube, this might ring true for you. It stops the mum being played against dad, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because you've got team members. If you've got team members, and sometimes they'll see that, won't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that staff are very, it's undermining staff. Staff are very clever people. It's human nature to draw to people that you get the best answer from.
Yep.
Most suits what you want to hear.
Yep. I always think that your team members are like kids, and franchisees are like teenagers in lots of ways, but I think your team members are like kids, right? And so if you have different leadership styles, that's okay, because mum and dad have different approaches to things. But there are times when you actually do need to be on the same page. And it's something that we talk about. In fact, in our couples in business workshops that we run, we talk about that vision clarity map, where we get you mapped out really clear on a joint vision, right? We've got that vision clarity map is a tool that we use for that. So if we're talking about being leaders of the business, if you're on the same page, you might have a different style and you might step in and out of those leadership roles. So there'll be times when I'll go, that's a Caroline question. Right? Yep. Or you'll go, that's a Mark question. And so, but on the big things, everybody who works with us, for us, alongside us knows that we are on the same page on the big things. Our vision, our values, our mission are 100% solid. We're locked armed on that.
Yeah. There's no grey areas on, certain things.
Yeah.
Some things can change. Sometimes there's corners, but, generally speaking, that's all totally aligned.
On the same page. So just quick kind of recap where we're at so far. So we're speaking about leadership within a business, in a business that you run as a couple. It's okay to have a different leadership style.
Yes.
In fact, it's probably healthy because you bring different strengths.
Yeah. On
some things you need to be locked and loaded together. So you have to have that really clear vision that you share, a shared vision.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's more than that. I think it's shared vision, shared values, shared mission. You have those in place. But then what do you do though when one of you is just going, man, this leadership stuff is just draining me. I'm just exhausted by it.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about in our last episode of knowing where, when somebody is, when your partner is, your business partner, where your senior leadership people are struggling a little bit.
Yeah, check in on that.
Check in, that's that check-in piece. When you are aligned together in your leadership and you know what the outcome is, if one party is not doing so well, be it that, some of their challenges have just, knocked them around a little bit. If you're aligned, I think you can sort of pull the slack up a little bit and hold those reins a little bit better.
Because leadership, something you often say is that leadership isn't about control, right? So leadership's about understanding, caring, nurturing, coaching, but directing at times.
Yeah.
So, Caroline, if we're talking about, different leadership styles, and we've just said that different leadership styles are really healthy, right? And so what you've got to do is work out that to make sure that that even though your leadership styles might be different, that they're not turning in on each other. And I think that's actually about having regular communication, right? So, and can I say, like, if you and I disagree on something, we disagree privately.
Well, yes, definitely.
Yep.
Right place, right time.
Yep.
Right place being not actually in front of any of the staff.
Yep.
Not in the, at the dinner table, but, in a corporate environment, but in a set environment, this is the safe zone, or this is the,
in a place where you will feel comfortable to admit that you were wrong and apologize to me and realize that I was right all along.
No, normally it's the other way.
It probably is normally the other way if we're being brutally honest.
Not surprising.
No, it's not surprising at all. So we've spoken about having different leadership styles. We said that different leadership styles are fine. I think one of the things that you could do in the next 7 days is you could just stop and go, okay, in terms of a leader, where are my strengths then? And you could do that individually. And then just get together and compare them and work out there will be something that you're good at that I'm not, or you're strong at that I'm not, and vice versa. Understand that, and that will actually help you to define roles, won't it?
Yeah. Well, you're really good at big picture strategies sort of things.
Yeah.
Sometimes that strategy, I can sort of see different gaps in there from a people point of view and the reactionary point of view of the strategy.
Your view of big pictures is, get them to come and then we'll build it, whereas mine is build it and they will come. But that actually works quite well because we find some middle ground, we kind of half build it and half get them to come, and then we sort of finish it off. So I just think that is the important thing about that, is to be really open about that and not to push full ahead and go, well, it's my way or the highway concept.
Yeah.
What do we often say about your mum? 2 ways of doing things, her way and the wrong way.
I think Mum listens to the podcast. Yeah.
That's all right. I've probably said that to her anyway. But, that's the thing that you got to do as a leader. I think you've got to be open to that communication, not just from your team. Mick Donaldson, who we've done a bit of work with, former SAS Patrol Commander, we talk about Mick, and that, in the SS they have that hot wash concept where you can have, at the end of a mission, you can have these really open conversations. I think you've got to have the ability to have that, to be approachable and have that open conversation, but not just with your team, but with each other as well.
Yeah, I was talking to a business owner yesterday, and they were talking the dynamics. He's struggling with the dynamics of the business, and they're a husband and wife team in this situation.
Yep.
He was quite a big picture thinker, and would jump in and just not necessarily not think about it, but he would just jump in and swim like hell to make it work.
Yep.
Whereas his partner was sort of like, hang on a minute, let's look at the different angles of what you want to jump into, and then let's jump in.
Yep.
So finding that balance and that communication that, it's to be fair, you need to be able to stop and go, I can see that you want to jump into that and just go, crazy on it. But then that person needs to sort of pull back and go, okay, let's work out how we communicate what that is, how they can both align. And then that sort of brings in your leadership of how that's going to work for you both.
So, that's that concept, right? That leadership is understanding that you're on the same page, that you're aligned, but you're not duplicating.
No.
So there's a difference between duplicating and being on the same page. You can be on the same page, so you're delivering a joint message, but you're not overriding each other or running in each other's, swimming in each other's lane, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Love it. These are the sort of things that we teach our clients all the time in our mastermind program, metropolimastermind.com.au. If you're listening to this podcast and wherever your favorite podcast app is right now, please make sure you like, subscribe so that you can get this every week. We spend about 15 minutes helping couples who are in business to scale their business and to have a business which is less reliant on them so that they can scale the business without descaling their relationship. If you're watching this on YouTube, pop your comments in the below. Like it, subscribe it, but pop your comments below. If you've got something in particular you'd love us to cover, drop that into the comments and we'll work on it. And until the next episode, please make sure you spend time with those who matter most. Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you. Just keep in mind that you've got this at the end of the day. You're obviously good at what you do. So you've got this.